Yo, what is up? We are back with another Frontline update, and I'm going to update you with some interesting news that's been happening in the Frontline game mode. Now, first of all, before anything else, make sure when you get into the Frontline game modes, you are spamming the invite button. Make sure you are in a platoon. This is because you want to earn all that extra 15% credits, 15% everything. And also remember to subscribe and notification bell if you want to see more updates, and especially if you are following this channel for the mod pack. Every time I upload a video, you will get a notification, and that helps me out a lot as well. Now, I am playing in the Emil 1951. This is my first time coming into this position, defending the Bravo objective. I've never been up on this spot before, but actually I saw one of the popular streamers taking up this position in this tank, so I thought I'd give it a try and see how it goes. Now, normally when I'm spawning in defense, I normally run away to the Charlie objective where it's really easy to defend, but I thought I'd give it a try defending Bravo. Now, you could go around the eastern side of Bravo and go to that rock and shoot into the cap circle, or sometimes I take this position that's just below this ledge here. There's a rock. You can shoot some of the tanks that are in the cap circle, but you will die eventually. It's just a matter of time, but it's a matter of trying to survive for as long as possible in this position. As you know, the Bravo objective is very easy to attack if you're on the attacking team. All you need to do is just bomb rush it with a bunch of guys, and you will probably cap it out, especially if you have attacking guys that are supporting you from the Charlie cap circle. If they're on the Charlie objective on the ledge of the western side of Charlie, and they're firing onto the guys that are trying to flank the Bravo cap circle, it's really easy to cap out the Bravo objective. And even with our guys doing the best they could to try and defend the Bravo objective, they've already capped it out. But why am I still here? Why am I not running away? Well, here's what's going to happen. Even if I'm going to die here, I'm going to make sure I reload and try to make use of my clip. I'm in an Emil 1951. I'm going to try and shoot these guys, try to unload my clip before I die, and it looks like I'm stunned. I am not doing too well here. The Lynx here has HE'd me. Let me get one shot into him. Yep. And even this mod one before he kills me off, and there it goes. I am dead. But I did do a little bit of damage. It wasn't the greatest. We actually collapsed quite easily there in Bravo. I'm not mad or upset about it at all. It is expected in the Bravo objective. You lose it very quickly and very often. It's you know, it's no big deal. Just get on to the next tank. I've decided to get into the EBR 105. It's one of my favorite tanks to play in this game mode. And what I'm going to do is actually just going to drive around and clip out whoever I can clip out. In Frontlines, if you want to rank up to general quickly, you need to go where the action is. So look on your minimap, find out where you can get a lot of damage, a lot of spotting, a lot of if you're in a light tank, of course you want to get assisted damage. So go to where the action is and don't be afraid to put yourself out there, get a bit of damage. Of course, you don't want to lose all your tanks and get yourself locked out for 2-3 minutes, right? But you do what you have to do. You need to balance your risk and learn how to play with that timing. You know, when you get your tanks your tank token loaded in, you need to make sure that you have 1 or 2 tanks in reserve so that you can make those risky gameplays like what I'm doing right now. I still have one tank in reserve coming in soon anyway, so I can go ahead and try to get as much damage as possible. Oh my goodness, the first HE missed, but the second one took a lot out of me. In fact, it made me burn, and I've lost my second tank already, but that's okay. I can get into another tank, which is probably the best tank in this game, which is the T44-100. Now in just a minute I'm going to share with you some of the stats that I've discovered recently. As you know, ever since the episode 5, they have changed a little bit of the meta. Well, they've changed a little bit, not the meta, I mean they've changed the way they redistribute the combat reserves. Now I'm in the T44-100 and Charlie is being attacked. I'm going to get into Charlie once again and try to get as much damage as I can. As you know, Charlie objective is one of the easiest objectives to defend, so I want to get in here and get some action, survive as long as possible, do as much damage as I can. As I was saying, combat reserve slots have changed since episode 4. Remember in episode 4, light tanks used to get 3 slots. Medium tanks only got 1 slot. And heavy tanks, of course, only got 1 slot, which means more often than not, you are always carrying that engineering in your medium tanks. And in your light tanks, you can carry 3. So you have engineering, you have probably an artillery strike, and the other one is the Inspire. If you're in light tank, you probably carry 2. You probably carry artillery strike and an air strike, you know. But it's changed now. Episode 5, you only get 1 slot in your light tanks. You get 2 slots in your medium tanks, and you get 3 slots in your heavy tanks. So that's changing this game a lot, because if you get 2 and 3 slots in your medium and heavy tanks, you have the option of carrying the Inspire, which is the Inspire and the engineering together in your medium tanks. Why is this such a big deal? Well, in case you don't know, Inspire is one of these perks that help you reload quicker. It helps you earn assisted damage from those guys that are around you when you have it on. So why is this a big deal? Well, this is a big deal if you are in a auto loader, a clip tank, an auto reloader, tanks like the Progetto, the Lorraine, the Samoa, the 5100, the Emil 1, the Emil 1951. Why is this such a big deal? It is a big deal because these tanks can now reload quicker, have more DPM when you are using the Inspire, when you are carrying Inspire. Like I am in my T44-100, as soon as I turn on the Inspire, I'm reloading faster, I can shoot quicker, there is more DPM in my tank, and this means it's changing the meta, it's changing the way this game is played. It is bringing back into focus these auto reloader tanks, these auto reloaders, these clip tanks, Emil 1s, 5100s, Lorraine's, Progettos. Now the Progettos and the Lorraine's have already been very effective in this game mode, very good effective tanks, but with the option of carrying 1 extra slot other than engineering. You normally carry engineering because you know you need to get into the cap, you need to shoot guys in the cap and earn and you need to cap and earn your XP. But now with the option of carrying the Inspire with your clip tanks, you're gonna have Inspire in almost all the clip tanks out there. The Progettos, the Lorraines, the Emils, the 5100s, the Somuas, the Emil 1951s, and you're gonna reload a lot faster. And every time you turn it on, you reload quick, you inspire those around you will reload very quickly as well. Look at how many people have the Inspire on now. This means we can like shoot like a machine gun. You keep reloading all the time, you keep your gun shooting all the time. This really helps in the way this mode is played. Now I'm gonna die here soon to the Revelry said that's going to be shooting my ass. I was so upset that these guys were not defending it and paying attention to the guys that are shooting us in the ass. But anyway, this gives me an opportunity to show you what's been going on. What's the difference between now and the previous episode. In episode 4, I have a game sample of 87 games. These are the stats. I had 42 games in defense and 45 games in attack. On the right is episode 5 so far. I've played 26 games, but a huge difference is that I only have 9 attacking games and overwhelmingly a lot of defense games, 17 defense games and 9 attacking games. So I don't know if my stats are going to be skewed a little bit because it's not balanced. In the episode 4, 87 games, you can see 42 games defensive and 45 attacking, which is very balanced game. I had a very balanced game loadout. So I don't know if it's very accurate, but so far, out of my 26 games, 57% of defense wins compared to episode 4. In episode 4, the defense teams won only 30% of the time, 29.88%. But in episode 5, because of the new changes, defense teams are winning a lot more, 57% of the times. The attacking teams are only winning 42% of the times. Previously, attacking teams won 70% of the time. And everyone was bitching and complaining about, oh man, I hate being in defense teams. You know, when you load into the game, everybody is always in the global chat going, I hate being in the defense teams. But there's no excuse now because defense teams are winning a lot more than attacking teams. And the average time of the games have also increased. In my 26 game sample, the games have almost increased 2 minutes more than what was happening in episode 4, which means you have a little bit more time to rank yourself up to general. Extra 2 minutes is a lot of time for you to do some damage to get yourself ranked up. That means you can average your rank average can be higher than captain. You know, you could average major if you play your cards right. Averaging major earns you 900 prestige points every game, and that's really good. If you average major, that's really great. If you can get into general all the time, that's 1200 points. So those are the latest stats for you, and that is the latest news that I have for you. Now, I've spawned into my LT432. I have no choice about that. That's because I have a little bug in my game mode because I'm running some mods, and that's the price you pay when you run some mods. Some mods don't work perfectly, especially they don't work perfectly in frontline modes because they work perfectly well in random battles, but in frontline modes you have situations like this where the interface is not working properly. As you can see, I can't see what my progression of rank is at the moment. There is a timer at the bottom showing me the next availability of my next tank instead of showing me my combat reserves and whatever reserves that I have at the bottom that you usually see. Also, I've lost the use of my mini-map. I still have the mini-map, but I don't have the viewing circles, and I don't have the direction line, which is kind of like confusing a little bit. It's disorientating sometimes. I look at the mini-map, I don't know where I'm pointing at, I don't know where I'm looking at. It disorient me momentarily sometimes. But that's what happens when you play around with mods. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work perfectly. But you get used to it if you're a mod user like me. But right now, what I'm doing is trying to go where the action is, and the action is right down the middle because Bravo and Echo has been captured, which means they are pushing into the city. What I want to do is try to get as much damage as I can out of this game. I think I am captain right now. I need to rank up as quickly as possible, but shooting from these kind of distances is kind of difficult to pen anything unless you're willing to spam lots of premium shells. As I mentioned earlier in my previous how to make general videos, there are a couple of ways to play this game mode. If you are behind, if you are in Prestige 4, Prestige 5, you need to catch up. You need to be shooting a lot of premium shells, try to rank yourself up as quickly as possible to catch up to Prestige 7 and earn enough points to get that free tank, the Emil 1951. But I am past all that ranking up right now. I'm ranked major right now. For me, I am in Prestige 6, somewhere in the level 20 something right now, and I am fine and dandy. I am playing this game mode just to earn as much credits as I can. So I have reconfigured all my tanks to shoot mostly standard shells. I've carried a bit of premium shells to shoot those, you know, pesky defenders in the front or whatever. I do have some premium shells, but I'm shooting mostly standard shells in all my tanks now. In fact, almost 100% standard shells in all my tanks, just to save on the credits. I'm not so bothered about making general. If I do make general, it's purely coincidental, which is this game. Most of my games I am averaging major. Once in a while I do still end up being captain, but that's okay for me. I'm expecting that. My priorities right now is just to earn as much credits as possible, so that's how I'm playing this game. Earning credits is more important to me than ranking up, because I know I'm going to rank up and be Prestige 7 by the end of this episode 5. So that's how I'm playing this game, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm still trying to do the best that I can to get as much damage as I can, but that is not a priority for me. And I see a bunch of guys up here, so I'm gonna try and get as much damage as I can. Now, if I die, it's okay. I've already survived quite a long time in the LT432, which means I probably have 1 or 2 tanks in reserve already. So if I die in this tank, that's okay. I'm gonna track this guy now and earn the assisted damage, and that's very important in this game mode. Earning assisted damage, shooting the tracks as often as possible. Track those guys if you can, when you have teammates around you helping you. When you get the tracking shot, you earn all this free damage from just tracking those guys and earning the assisted damage, the residual damage. It's free damage for you. So always try to track your enemies if you can. When you do it, you earn all this free damage that adds up to you ranking up as quickly as possible. Now, I should have repaired onto my left here near the castle, but I was tunnel vision towards this repair zone. I don't know why I had to drive almost twice as far to get to it. But I realized it a bit too late. I think it's somewhere around here when I realized that there was a repair station just left of the castle. But anyway, you live and you learn. Anyway, I'm just going to repair this and try to drive into where the action is if I can. Now, obviously, I could have got rid of my tank after I killed that defender. I should have just hit J, come to think of it. Hit J, hold it down for 15 seconds and wait another 25 seconds and spawn into my garage and come out with another tank. That could have been a better play by me, but all this is in hindsight, of course. When I'm sitting here and commentating on my previous game, of course I can say that, but anyway, it's not too bad. I do run into a couple of guys here in front of me, so I still get a little bit of damage, so it's not all for nothing. I can shoot this Revolurise here. In fact, I made a big mistake here thinking I can reload quicker than him, but he does reload. But now that he's shot me and taken the shot for it, I might as well shoot him as much as I can and maybe even finish him off. And that's exactly what I do. Now I see the time running out here, which is why I am trying to search around. Here I'm driving around in circles a little bit because, like I said, I don't have the directional view on my mini map, and I was looking at the map trying to figure out where am I at in relation to the map. I can't see the guidelines where I'm pointing at, and I was a little bit disillusioned there. And that's one of the disadvantages when you're playing with mods. You know, you have to roll with the punches. This is one of the disadvantages. Sometimes the mods break. This game mode is certainly breaking some of those mods. And well, it only happens when you lose all your tanks. And when you lose all your tanks, that's what happens. Some of the things disappear, and you can't pick the first tank after you've respawned in again. Like the LT-432, I didn't pick this tank, I just spawned into it by default. But it is a good tank, so I don't have any problems about it. So what I do in my garage is I unload all my tier 8 tank crews and put them into my barracks for those tanks that I don't use. Like for instance, tanks that I for certain not using in this game mode, I dismount the crew and I put them in the barracks just for situations like this when I get forced into tanks. Sometimes I get forced into tanks that I don't want to play, like the example, the T-44, the standard T-44, Tech 3 T-44. I get spawned into that because I didn't have a choice in picking out the tanks. So what I did is I just demount the crew in that tank, put the crew in the barracks, so that when I get spawned into only the tanks that I have readied up. For example, this L432. So I don't get upset at all, and there I go, do a little bit of damage, and I get into the general rank already. Now before this, I didn't have the rank progression, so I didn't know how close I was to ranking general, which adds to the anxiety. I didn't know if I had time to abandon this tank and spawn into the next tank. The clock was running out, and I'm driving around looking for enemies to damage. And yeah, that's the problem with having some mods. Sometimes they don't work. But anyway, here I am. We are gonna double team these three guys. We got rid of the Pattern KR. We got rid of the UDES-14. Now we're gang banging this Progetto just like that. When you have a bunch of fast shooting light tanks, it's really easy. Now this game mode again is still favoring tanks that have mobility, tanks that have DPM. These light tanks, Progettos, T-44-100s, the Lorraines. Now especially if you can carry 2 slots in your medium tanks, you can have the Inspire and the Engineering. You are going to be a beast when you can speed up your cap. You're gonna be a beast when you have Inspire on. You can inspire those around you, reload quickly. You can basically melt down your enemies really quickly. Now I am YOLOing into these guys, not expecting anybody to be in the back lines. I'm just expecting to take on this guy by myself, but whoops, my mistake. There's more than one guy. In fact, there's 3 guys, and I get gangbanged myself, but that's okay. At this point, I've already made general. It doesn't matter to me. Now I can pick a tank because I'm back into the garage and I have some tanks in reserve. So I'm thinking I should get into maybe my EBR 105. No? Nah, let's get back into that Emil 1951 again. Why is this tank so good? Well, it's a clip tank. You can shoot 3 guys. You can shoot 3 shots in one clip. 217 penetration with your standard shells, which is good enough. 2.75 seconds in between shots. 0.35 dispersion. Now I have shot guys on the move in this tank. I don't know how I did it. but pixel shots on the move, it has happened a couple of times in this tank. I don't know why. Maybe because the dispersion is 0.20 on the move, 0.20 when you're traversing. When the turret is traversing, is 0.09 dispersion. So for me, I think it's a really good snapshotter. And 360 damage, oh my goodness. Over 1,000 damage per clip. And that is really good for a clip tank. 360 damage is what I like about this tank. Yeah, what can I say? I'm beginning to like this tank a lot. In fact, I've taken this tank out as my first choice tank many times. And I have gotten general most times by taking this tank out as my first choice. But I'll be honest with you, I think I will revert back to the T44-100 as my first choice, and then depending on the situation, I will pick this tank after my first tank has died. You know what I mean? I will spawn in number 2 in this tank. Maybe I'll pick a position where I can hull down, or where I can defend better, or where I can have a strong position. Then I'll pick this tank. It's not really wise to pick this tank as the first choice. Maybe, I'm not too sure. I haven't really decided about it. But at the moment, this tank is working out really well for me. Getting general almost all the time in this tank. And in this one, in fact, General of the Army over 11,000 damage. Really pleased with this tank. If you don't have it already, make sure you are grinding it out. Get yourself up to Prestige 7 and exchange those points and get the Emil 1951. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good tank in front lines, and it's going to be a really good tank in your random battles. And over 460,000 in credits in this game, which is a really good game for me. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to give it a like and give me a follow. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.